Welcome, everybody, to the Tipped and Stiffed podcast with your host, Jarod Sturridge, and
Cade and Jarod.
It's a good week. We got something new.
We got something new. We have two new things.
Two new things, actually, yeah. Exciting. Do we want to get rolling on them?
Yeah.
Because we introduced it last week.
We introduced it last week that we had a phone number.
Yeah, and you all did your jobs, and you did what we said.
And we're going to play them on the podcast, so we're going to get right into the voicemails.
Yeah.
Let's see what wonderful questions you have.
Okay.
Bryce, our beautiful producer, please put them up on the board.
Okay, you want to actually see them?
No, I just want to listen.
Okay, all right, here we go. This is from, here we go.
Hey guys, big fan of the podcast. Love Tips and Stiff, love what you guys are doing. Anyways, my question for you guys is, are you excited for Marvel Studios' Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness? And how do you feel about Johnny Sin's leaked casting as a character playing various utility workers and delivery drivers? Thank you. Hope to hear your thoughts.
Who was that?
Is there a name?
Who was that?
Okay, anonymous.
No name.
I have no clue who that was.
Big fan.
Dude, that was awesome. They hit it great.
God.
I love that.
Well, to answer his question, I'm not excited for any of the Marvel movies that are going to come out.
I am excited for the Doctor Strange one.
Oh, Doctor Strange will be fun.
Yeah.
And if they, I don't know. I don't care about any of the Spider-Man. Even I thought I'd be excited by that one of all of them, but God, just the way that they did the same exact, treatment of Tom Holland as they did every other white, baddie who works
in Disney.
In Disney. I mean, it's,
He took his shirt off. You didn't see it, dude. This man had a barrel chest. This dude was ready to fuck. No,
he's definitely big.
Who was I think it was Tim. Someone said it. It was either Joe Rogan or Tim Dillon. They're like, if you're going to be on those shows, you better be ripped because you have to look fuckable. Like that's I remember him saying that. And I was like, I remember watching that show on Netflix, The End of the Fucking World. And there's one part where just an actor who doesn't matter, who's trying to have sex with the second character, and he takes off his shirt and the dude's ripped. I was like, it made me think about that moment. I'm like, this guy doesn't matter to this story, but when he took his shirt off, you want to fuck him. That's I get it. But
well, that reminds me of something that somebody said about, this is more of a creative thing, in Breaking Bad, the first scene when he busts out of the RV, and he's got his shirt off and he's in his underwear,
right?
Somebody who was making this analysis of the pilot, from a film critic standpoint, was normally any regular Hollywood actor would want to work out for 6 to 7 months before that, and then bust out of that RV all smooth and and just beautiful and shit like that. But that just would not make any sense. You're not supposed to look at him and be like, oh, the first thought is I want to fuck him or I want him to fuck me. That's not, but when it comes to Marvel movies, that's the difference between that kind of art and other kinds of art where what you're trying to grab from the audience is totally different and is targeting different parts of the human brain.
Right, because in Breaking Bad, he's a teacher.
Yeah.
And a loving husband.
Well,
turns
he's a loser.
He kind of is a loser.
He's a loser and he's resentful and angry.
Right.
And he's really smart. And you know how that's the huge trope that some loser who did nothing but was really smart and let that shit just happen to him. That's the fucking thing that they're attacking in somebody's a viewer's gonna be like, oh, my dad's kind of like that, or they're like, oh, I can see him. I saw somebody kind of like that. I see those kind of people at the grocery store. But you see Tom Holland and you're like, oh, I want to feel like him.
Right.
Yeah,
well, because he's Spider-Man. People want to be Spider-Man, but
well, speaking of fucking people, I think the more important part of the question that you guys didn't really address is he was asking about how you feel about the leaked casting of Johnny Sins.
I think that's a joke that he's making. I don't think that's a real thing.
No,
I don't know.
No, they reported on it.
I think I'm being gaslit.
AON. AON. Put that on there.
Okay.
AON?
AON. One America. OAN. One American News.
Johnny Sins in the new market. That
Johnny
would
Sins.
I would have so much respect for Disney if he just like cameoed, just for like even like 3 frames. I would respect it so much.
But who would he fuck? He has to fuck somebody.
No, he
in the movie.
doesn't. No, he doesn't.
That's his.
has to
That's
deliver
the
a
only
package.
thing he's good.
If he delivers like a pizza.
Yes, I'm saying.
It's implied.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, so they just kind of he comes into the apartment or the house or whatever, where like Scarlett Johansson is or something, and then like the door just closes and then it's over.
And then it's
And then it cuts to like a building blowing up and like 3,000 people dying. 9/11 happens in every one of those movies. You realize that?
Oh yeah, well it's weird. Like when in the Avengers, like
Yeah.
like where there's like ships just like falling on the city. Like people don't think about like that's tens of thousands of people dying. Like you don't put 2 and 2 together. And you would think there'd be way more like memorials, and there just isn't. Like you think there'd be way more grieving going on in the Marvel universe, and it's like, do people ever get tired of it? They're like they were like, you would imagine that. You know, I think it's in New York. The New York's like rent prices in the Marvel universe would just like plummet. Like, no one wants to fucking live here. There's an alien invasion every season.
I feel like racism would be less of a thing after that. 'Cause you're not looking like you're like, damn, okay. I used to look at people from the Middle East like they could do all this to the 2 twin towers, you know. But then you're like, but I have no idea what these bitches from the sky are doing, you know?
Right. They don't really touch on that. Like racism would really go away if like every season like aliens were coming. They're like, oh, this whole thing, like we are humans and there's other like species that want to murder us entirely. Let's go move on to another one.
Another one? Okay, here we go.
Hey, Jarod and Cade, it's Jacob. I worked with you a couple of months ago, and I haven't heard from you since. What's going on, fellas? Come on, throw the dog a bone here. Throw the dog a bone here. I still love you guys. I know it's been a while. I miss you both. I miss power smoking at Fusion because it's too fucking cold for this bullshit. And well, that's why you shouldn't smoke American spirits. Just buy a pack of Cowboy Killers. Be a normal guy, okay?
Be man.
Okay.
Fuck off.
I love you guys. See you in a couple weeks. Bye.
Thank you, Jacob.
I know who that was. Yeah.
Thank you, Jacob. We love you too. He's the fuck. You remember that when we were we were at Fusion, there was about to be a band to play, and we all had a cigarette, and there was one cigarette, and like we got to get through this, and we all just
we like
passed it. We're like
passed it.
like as hard as we could,
And then we fucking went up to see them perform or something, right? Or no, maybe, I don't even remember. There was like an open mic.
Fusion's the best.
Yeah.
For hanging out, like especially when it's like when you get to go to the back and everyone's just hanging out. I love that. It's like genuinely the only bar I had never have any problems at, and everybody is pretty cool. There is a few questionable people that sometimes it's like you need to leave, but that's every bar. What are you gonna do?
At least it's not. At least it's sort of like there's a commonality there, because like people go there, they're fucking in the arts, whatever, and it's nice. You go to Factory or Fex. No offense to those places. I've had a good time there, but we've had a good time.
We've had a good time.
So I thank Fex for providing that experience. But you know, we live and learn, and we're looking for new experiences.
Right.
We want the next one.
Let's hear another one.
Next one? Okay, here we go.
What up, Pimp? This is John. So I recently started watching, and I got really into, what was the band? Rock Hypothesis. And I know they said that one guy doesn't shred, but he totally shreds. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this.
I don't know the band.
Rock Hypothesis?
No clue.
I'm trying to piece together the voice. For a second, I thought it was Tyler, but
who's Rock Hypothesis?
What is that? What the fuck is Rock
Are you laughing at us because we should get the joke?
Yeah.
What is the Rock Hypothesis?
What band do you know that is kind of
Is it fucking Stone Theory?
Jesus Christ.
Dumb.
Rock Hypothesis?
I was literally on Spotify looking up Rock Hypothesis.
Rock Hypothesis. Dude, Cade Kozak thought he was the smartest guy in the... Because at first I heard that, I was like, that's Cade Kozak for sure. rock hypothesis.
That's like their villain, like flip side, like
right.
white spy, black spy, like
right.
rock hypothesis.
Rock hypothesis.
I heard fucking somebody laughing in the background. God, that was. Thank you, Kozak.
Thank you, Kozak. We think they're a great band. We love rock hypothesis.
They're actually recording an album right now.
I think they recorded
or a single.
I don't know. Yeah,
I think they're. I mean, in essence, an album.
It's a lot of work. We keep on the grind.
Yeah, that's why you're not coming on the show yet, because you had to focus on the album.
Yeah, you should need to get the work, buddy. As I'm insinuating, like they haven't.
They played more shows than we played in our whole lives.
Yeah.
All right, you want to do the last one here?
Yeah. What's the last one?
Okay, this is the one. This is one I don't know about, but we'll see.
Hello, this is Frank Carmichael at Happenings Communication. I'm looking to speak to your producer about the possibility of you guys coming on the WLIP radio program. Now we've got a lot of good guests on the program, and we'd love to have you guys in the Miller Lite studio. So,
and then the phone.
It's just silent now. Oh. Okay, here's another one. The other.
Hello, gentlemen. I apologize.
I know who this is.
It looks like my phone got disconnected. Anyway, I'm going to leave you my number for Happenings Magazine, 262-564-8800, okay? So give me a call back, and we'll set something up. All right. Have a good day. Bye.
Now, I know that wasn't real because I know who it was, and I'd just like to make a statement that if we were ever let on public radio, I would definitely get you taken off. I want to say that for the FCC will fine you tens of thousands of dollars after what I do to your station. Also, I know it's not real. I know who that was.
Who was that?
I'm not going to say it because they think they're really silly. They think they're really funny. All I got to say is that the open mic at Fusions every Sunday, I'll see you there on your spot.
All right, that's the last of the voicemails that we have here, but please keep calling us.
Yes, that was cool. Thank you, everybody.
Real offers only.
First of all, the WLIP, what are we talking about here? What the fuck are we talking about? Even if it was real, what are we talking about?
WLIP. You know.
This is we get more followers than the WLIP. We reach millions of people every dude. When Joe Rogan gets canceled, that's us. We're literally.
Don't tell him we've been talking to, Spotify.
We got a few things going on. Patreon.
Shazam wants to get with us. Wants to get on board. They're interested in the product.
Snapchat stories.
Music.
Yeah, Snapchat music.
What was the offer they get? It was what, $45 million per episode.
We did the math. We found out that this show is worth a conservative number of $15 million, and a what is the word? Not optimistic 65 billion.
Dude, what if that was Frank Carmichael?
It wasn't. It was not. You goon.
Who was it? Tell me who it was.
I'm not telling you who it was.
Tell me after.
Yeah, I'll tell you after. Because I know who it was. There's only one person Frank Carmichael's relevant to.
What?
It doesn't matter.
The voice sounded familiar.
On!
The voice sounded familiar.
Moving on.
Okay.
What are we talking about next, Bryce?
Joe Rogan.
Oh, yeah. So things got worse. So it got worse for the bald man on Spotify. This bald guy on Spotify. He released like a real apology video of him because, okay.
Let's go into this.
So we can't play the video.
Why not?
Bryce wants to play it.
No, you can't play.
I got it right here.
No, we could.
This video. I thought you meant.
The other video.
Dude, they removed 70 episodes of him saying.
No, it's up. No. Okay, so here's the thing. Joe Rogan is like, all this thing with him now is getting turned into like a racial thing because there's like a compilation video out there of him saying the N-word.
Yes.
Both variations of it, which is kind of cool. Like 70 times. No, and I knew that he said we've talked about that before. I've seen the show many times. but like now he made like an apology video being like explaining the context of why he thought he could use that word, and it's fine. Like he says like why he was wrong to use it, even though he thought it was right to use it because he was just talking about the word, and he thought you should just use the word when talking about it, which is I don't know.
It's some people just say white people should never say it, and some people say that in the right like in his context, when you're literally saying you shouldn't say that word, which we're not going to say that word. Here's the thing. In my philosophy, I don't think you should say it. I don't say it. I don't say it on the podcast. I won't say it in any sort of context because whether I think that I'm using it in the proper context or not doesn't really matter. And B, I just shouldn't say it. And maybe some people were like, well, shouldn't the you shouldn't say it be first? And then stare me down really heavily. But it doesn't matter. You shouldn't. We're not. He messed up. Listen, the moment he signed for Spotify, he buried himself. And you know what? You know at the end of the day, Bryce? You know at the end of the day, you know what this man has that no one else has? 100 mil. Quick 100 mil.
Not no one.
A few people got 100 mil. See what Joe Rogan's net worth.
He's definitely worth more than.
Oh yeah.
What he was paid.
He's worth dirty money.
But that's not good.
No, listen.
It's not like he. Like here's the thing. The attack against him, like bringing him into the headlines more and more and more, like you can see the gradual, like severity of it. Like first it was just kind of like misinformation,
right?
And then they were like, oh, he transphobia,
right?
Then they're like, oh, he's racist. He's a racist person. These things, it's growing. It's like it's growing and growing until so you can cast the net around the most amount of people who could be angry enough to make it permissible for like the White House to step in there at Spotify and go, you need to remove this person.
Yeah, Jen Psaki
said they need to do more.
Who's letting anybody open their mouth at the White House? You know what I mean? Like. First of all, if someone like truly when the White House goes Spotify, you need to do more. I don't really what was that? I don't look at demon. First of all, that's a demon. That's a demon.
She looks like every official in a Black Mirror episode.
She looks like every demon you see in your sleep paralysis dreams. This woman looks like a demon.
Our hope is that all major tech platforms and all major news sources, for that matter, be responsible and be vigilant to ensure the American people have access to accurate information on something.
Pause it. We want all tech corporations and all major news media to push only our propaganda. We only want our side of the story, and anyone who goes outside of that needs to be removed from the public. That's what we want. So, when we go pouncing around in the Middle East, no one bats an eye. When we go invade countries for lithium, no one bats an eye. That's all she's saying. This isn't real. Like
none of this shit is fucking real. There's so much. Everything around this happening has been more real for the last 2 years. Like, this is probably the ultimate way to sidestep the Ghislaine Maxwell.
Oh, dude.
That's 100%.
Right. And the thing about this is, let's make it clear.
Yeah.
Me and you don't watch Joe Rogan anymore.
Not really.
I think he did lose it a little.
I watch it when like Tim Dillon's on it. Like that's when I watch it.
Yeah. That's it. He got boring. And I never particularly agreed with him with all the COVID stuff. Did he say some things that now are accepted on major news media? Yes. And I think he's right to point them out. Mm-hmm. And I think it's right that people should go, hey, isn't that wacky that when a guy was saying that cloth masks don't work, that the government was like, you're wrong. And then like months later, the CDC was like, yeah, cloth masks don't work. Mm-hmm. They don't work. You need to have like a very specific mask. It has to have a rating. And on top of it, you can look at studies where we've done the effectiveness of masks on COVID, and some of them are really good. The problem is that the FDA had so many applications to prove masks that they started just having emergency approval for them. So there's no real way of telling if some of the N95 masks are actually to grade with N95. All these places that you go to and they have just the free masks that you can take on, there's truly not, it's not proven whether they work or not. Real N95 masks that the FDA has approved and have been around work. The ones that came in a huge mass that hit the country, all the factories in China that got switched over to mask production to make a dime off of COVID, you don't know how many corners they cut. And that's what people aren't talking about. And that's a reality. And it's not saying that masks don't work. I'm saying that the certain masks don't work and certain masks do. And there's a probability that the masks that don't have been the ones that have been mass produced and given to many people. And you're told you are safe now. It's the same thing with, like, I'm vaccinated, you're vaccinated, we're all vaccinated here, right? We were all told that we were going to be fine after the second shot. We were all told that it was going to
be all clear.
We weren't going to die. No hospitals. Life was going to go back to normal. That lasted 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
That lasted 4 months.
In that time, people died from the vaccine. People still got sick, and people still spread the virus to other people.
So it's just like, how can you, like, okay, we talked about this last week. There's a guy with 11 million views per episode, and some people genuinely think he's crazy. Some people genuinely don't know him, and some people love him, right? Like any other show that's ever existed in time. But the problem is that he is the most listened to person in the country, and with that comes a lot of power. And it's one of those, with great power comes great responsibility. And we have to ask ourselves, well, how much of a standard do we hold to people?
You ask who actually has the power over him,
right?
And that's supposedly Spotify or the government.
Well, the thing is that I don't trust the government telling what media and tech companies truly need to do, because the government has had influence over the media and tech companies for years, and they've used it for very nefarious reasons. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't understand that some of the shadow banning that happens on Twitter wasn't when all the conservatives are like, they're trying to take away our voices. Didn't understand that on the other side of that was leftists who their stuff was being taken away when they were talking about unionization, when they were talking about what was going on in South America with the coups in South America, with the lithium mining and stuff like that. Like, no one talked about that. Mm-hmm. And a lot of those stories that were broken when certain presidents would win in South American countries would be ripped from the internet and would be blacklisted, and those accounts pushing that information would be banned. And it's interesting that we're going after Joe Rogan, who is a moron. Like, has no doctorate in anything. Like, this is the thing. So it's kind of like, do we get rid of a guy who has a lot of opinions that affects a lot of people, or do we tell a bunch of people that maybe they shouldn't take their advice from a guy without a doctorate? And then, yeah, he has people on who are doctors, who have medical backings, who disagree with the major narrative, but it's one of those things where I get it. I think Joe Rogan should say sorry for many times that he said the N-word, because I'm sure there's plenty of times where it was extremely inappropriate. Do I think he should lose his entire career? No, I don't think so. Should he lose his entire career because of the COVID thing? No, and I definitely don't think giving Jen Psaki and Joe Biden any word on what happens on the internet is a good idea.
No.
I think that's a horrible idea.
I hate all of this. I hate all this because it just fucking proves to me that we're still in an ever worsening abusive relationship with the people who have power in this country. One moment, say pre-COVID, we were ready to piece by piece take down what they have done wrong and try to focus on what they've done right and try to make those rights become more prevalent and actually defend each other and actually look out for each other. As soon as COVID happened and it started getting worse and worse and worse and people got more and more scared, we're back to clinging to the only people who we think can protect us, which is the medical industry, the government, and the tech industry. Before, we were ready to fucking execute all those people in the street. There were millions of people on the internet who were ready to kill all those people or to put them in jail.
There was a lot of people.
And now 2 years later, and I mean, even before that. I mean, for the last 60, 70 years. But now that we're like scared, we have to run to them. Like that's an abusive relationship where like the only people you can protect are the only people you can count on are the ones abusing you.
Right.
That's horrific. Like that you could look in like a household of say an abused child.
Right.
And the only person that like can pick them up from school is the father who like beats them.
Right.
You know, and like throws their mom across the kitchen. Like it's
like that's why are you laughing?
No, because it's just
not funny.
It's a funny way to say that, but
yeah, I'm like Jesus. All right,
we know what you're saying, but I know like America, the people of America are just a beaten dog. They're a beaten dog chained outside. And every once in a while, someone's like, "Here, have a snack," and like, see you four more years.
Yeah.
And no, it's bad. I think it's ridiculous. I don't think Joe Rogan should lose everything. I personally think another side of it is because they don't want him on when the election comes.
That's it too. They don't want him on when the next candidate comes on, like the next Sanders comes on.
No, they don't want him on, and I think it's all bullshit. And don't get me wrong, I think Joe Rogan definitely has things that are bad, and I think there's things that he absolutely needs to be called out for. I think there's definitely things that he needs to be held responsible for. Absolutely. I'm going to be honest, though. Truly, if Joe Rogan didn't exist, there would still be people who didn't believe in trans people. There would still be people who aren't wearing a mask or ever getting vaccinated. Like, to think that he is the medium of all that energy is insane.
Yeah.
And that is what is happening, like, in this moment. As he's the guy! This is, like, the reason this is happening! I can't believe Jen Psaki, get him! Like, what? Like, this is crazy.
Oh, it's a nightmare. Oh, it's a fucking nightmare.
Do you want to watch the rest of this little?
Yeah, let's get angrier.
As significant as COVID-19, that certainly includes Spotify. So this disclaimer is a positive step, but we want.
Hold on.
Spotify.
Can we do that again?
Oh, just take it back here.
Our hope is that all major tech platforms and all major news sources, for that matter, be responsible and be vigilant to ensure the American people have access to accurate information on something as significant as COVID-19. That certainly includes Spotify. So this disclaimer, it's a positive step, but
she speaks as good as Joe Biden.
Hey, you know what they say? They all you hang around like someone who say as a parent who has dementia. They hang around them too long, they start to get a little, like they're taking care of them. They get a little silly themselves, you know? And so I'm looking out for my mom because, like, I don't want that if my grandma starts slipping too much. Like, that's a genuine thing. But, like, Jen Psaki is exhibiting signs of, like, early onset dementia. And Joe Biden needs to be gone so that Kamala Harris can come.
Everyone in the White House has Alzheimer's. What is happening? Yeah, this is insane. It's stupid. Whatever. They're going to take him off. It doesn't matter. He'll walk away with $100 million. Doesn't matter.
Hey, maybe he'll go back to YouTube and maybe it'll get better. Maybe his podcast will get better. Maybe he'll go back to having on like people who put DMT in their ass.
Right.
You know? Well, here's a website of this guy. He's tracking all of the episodes that have been taken off of Spotify.
Tom Segura. Wow.
And it's a lot of comedians.
Yeah, well, they don't want anyone funny. Sorry, God of God. Yeah, that one's a rough one.
All these people are funny.
No.
Even D'Elia. Wait, why would they take off Pete Holmes' episode? Pete Holmes is not that bad.
There's some odd choices.
They took 9/11 off. Dude, the Alex Jones 9/11 episode is one of the greatest Jerry episodes of all time.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe they took the Milo Yiannopoulos ones off. I'm surprised he had him on twice, didn't he? Wait, yeah, that's insane. He had Milo on twice. He had Gavin McInnes.
Milo.
Tim Dillon has had Gavin McInnes on.
I wonder if he took off that guy who was talking about the Charles Manson book.
Yeah, I don't know.
With Manson being in the CIA.
What?
Wow.
Stephen Molyneux? Oh, Stephen Molyneux? He had Stephen Molyneux on?
Who's that?
Dude, Stephen Molyneux talks about like the shapes of skulls on YouTube. That's insane.
Did they take off any Peterson?
I didn't notice.
Yeah, I don't see any so far.
That's interesting.
Mark Maron.
Yeah.
Why would they take off like Mark Maron?
Yeah.
This is a long fucking list.
Kreischer, like all of the I think, which I feel like the moves to take off the comedians are like just to couch the ones that are like
the ones that have Charles Manson
too much. Yeah.
Well, I think it's like I think they're taking down so many to hide the ones that they really just wanted to take down, which is like the Alex Jones episodes and some of the more conspiracy episodes.
Andy Bravo. Yeah. Yeah.
We know what's happening. We know what's going on here. Oh, it is all the old ones. I've listened to that Duncan Trussell episode. Nothing happens.
Do you know who Little Esther is?
No.
She's just a comic. I just don't understand. It must be anything where they talk about anything where it's like,
Yeah,
that's dangerous.
They just want everyone to go into the machine. They took up this is stupid. This is dumb. I whatever. Listen, this is my favorite part. Truly, if Joe Rogan's canceled, everyone will go, "Oh, I can't believe nothing changed. Oh, I can't believe it. Wait, everything's the same. Wait, everything's gotten worse. Wait, milk is $5. They were supposed to save the world. They were."
But Bernie, you said we were. I can't even do it.
Bernie,
you said we were going to change the world.
Kung Pao penis. It's dumb. Who cares? It's just a bunch of people who no one knows what day it is. Doesn't matter. Shouldn't say the word. At the end of the day, don't trust the government. You probably shouldn't listen to Jerry for your weekly news. And don't say the N-word. That's all. That's the biggest takeaway. So that's good. And if it gets banned, nothing will change.
And you know what? I can't tell if you're a centrist, a left-wing like communist, or a alt-right trad with those three statements.
Yeah. Because you know what's crazy is it's the most reasonable thing.
Yeah,
it's the most reasonable takeaway. Yeah, and you know what's crazy? The most reasonable takeaway is the most extreme. All right.
What? I mean, there's people worse. Yeah. Well, this is like going to the next thing we wanted to talk about.
Let's move into this.
Like, you want to talk about somebody who really fucking got people angry.
Yes. Ariel Pink for my first NFT drop. So, can you fill us in on who Ariel Pink is, Jarod?
Yeah, Ariel Pink is a multi-instrumentalist musician, recording artist, who got in trouble probably
where was he?
A year ago, last year. He was
what was he doing?
He was walking around our Capitol and he saw a large group of people running towards our Capitol building, and he wanted to go check it out. And he's here what it says: after flying to Washington D.C. to hear President Donald Trump speak on the White House lawn, I awoke to blatant mischaracterizations by mainstream media, which quickly went viral amongst the woke cancel culture elites. Interesting.
First of all, anyone who says woke cancel culture, I understand where he's upset, but anyone who uses woke cancel culture elites in the same sense.
Yeah, he thinks that he's a quirky millennial who's not like other millennials.
He's a quirked up white boy.
But yeah,
he was busting it down.
Look at him.
He was a quirked up white boy busting it down sexual style on January 6th.
Yes, I mean, look
at the White House lawn.
Look at his face. Look at he's kind of pudgy, but he's wearing a nice sweater and he's kind of cute. Like that.
He's a little pudgy.
He's a little but he's not really.
It's not.
He got dropped after being at the fucking January 6th thing. He got dropped by his record label.
And he was a hardcore Trump supporter though.
Right, but he made good music, and he didn't make any music that he never made alt-right music. He made dance music. He made indie pop and indie rock, psychedelia. His music's great. I follow him still.
Hold on though, but he is insane though. He does go, I became the latest victim of these terrorists while he was at the January 6th.
Right.
So listen.
Hold on, finish this out, because it is...
These so-called elites who create nothing sit in judgment of anyone who doesn't fully adopt their ever-changing ideology. Individualism, a principle on which this country was founded and for which millions have died protecting, is being threatened by these very people on a daily basis. Because I stood for my own truth and exercised my own God-given free will, I was labeled a racist and fascist sympathizer, barred from restaurants and other venues, and endlessly harassed online. The Lovers and Haters NFT series, here it is, was birthed from this place of self-reflection. More determined than ever to continue being a free-thinking individual, these NFTs memorialize and call out, in a way, those who both set out to destroy me and those who will ultimately further drive my success. As an artist, I have always truly loved and connected with my fans, and I will continue to create my music and encourage freedom of expression, whatever that expression may be.
Can we go to the link?
Wait, link in bio.
Link in bio. Can we go see the link in bio? What's an NFT? Lovers and...
Oh, yeah. So basically what it is, I mean, this is a terrible website, but it's just screenshots of people who like made like shitty memes about him.
Wait, that...
Dude, this one's got a bid of $500.
This is the only one on here that has a bid.
Can we leave a bid?
Everything else is zero. Like literally
There's
every
a-
single
Wait,
one.
Joker,
Wait,
500.
What is it? What is that Joker one there? You think your art is transgressive? You think art is transgressive? What is it on the bottom? He says something on the bottom. Scroll down.
Or zoom.
I do. I'm tired of pretending it's not.
This is horrible. First of all, this
Yeah,
is
they're
insane.
Bad. They're really bad memes. This one's good.
Beer, bacon, guns, mud, trucks, and Ariel Pink.
Ariel Pink does sound like a really hot country singer, like a cute woman country singer, like a Dolly Parton.
Okay, this is ridiculous. This is okay. First of all, listen.
Look how much this is going for.
See, here's the thing, because like truly, I would love to go to every. I would, if I had the ability to, I would go watch every politician speak, no matter who they were. I know in Ariel Pink's case that he was a genuine Trump supporter and he was at the January 6th thing. So I'm not him. This is dumb. Please get off
This
of this.
is so fucked up. This is ridiculous.
So I'm not this, but that was what was that? What was January 6th? It was just a speech, right? That he was giving? Or was that anything important that day?
They were going to confirm Biden's presidency in the Senate.
See, like I would have been there.
They were gonna like vote on it, or like vote. Confirm
Well,
or
just
something? Not vote
basically
on it.
like, you know, the people, the people vote and then they have to like, you know, the Senate has to be like, we confirm that the vote, that
Right.
this is the president.
Like it took place and it was legit,
It's
and
the-
like
the
nobody stole
official-
anything.
Yeah, no, it's just the official, like,
Right.
it's what happens
Oh, okay.
to like move it along, the
Yeah.
official hearing. Or
Put it on the books.
I would have been there, but not to participate in anything, just to like observe. But I feel like my stances would have been known before going there, and I think the difference with Ariel Pink is that they knew they were like real Trump supporters. So, like, if I knew that day that like we would have went there and just recorded and just been like, what is happening
You know,
here? And
I
then
wish that I had a podcast back in 2016 when I went, or 2017 when I went to Donald Trump's inauguration. I was at his first inauguration.
right for high
It
school.
was only inauguration. Yeah, it was for high school. It was like
Really?
it was like, I think it was like maybe $1,600 all in on the trip.
Dude, we'll be able to go to the
It's
second
fun.
one, so it's fine.
Yeah, we will. No, we'll get to that one.
What?
We'll get to go to
His
the
next
second inauguration.
That one's gonna be. I just had like a premonition about. It was huge. First of all, there was so many people.
Yeah, I would
And
love to see that.
Snipers on rooftops and like a whole crowd. We were standing in a line that was probably like 5 miles long. I don't know. It felt super long. We were like walking since 3 a.m. to get from like our hotel to
Oh, it's insane.
goddamn the line to get to the Capitol. Like it was so wild.
I would like. I want to see more of that, but that doesn't mean I support any of it.
No, yeah, that was after like the whole Bernie thing happened. I was
Yeah,
a
you
Bernie
were-
supporter going there. I was super lib-cucked at that point. I was really into
You
like
still
politics at that point.
If
I'm,
Bernie-
I'm less into politics at this point, but
Are. Yeah, but if
you
Bernie ran and won, you'd vote for him
know. Oh yeah,
in a heartbeat.
yeah.
I'd do it too.
Me too.
Because I have a soft spot in my heart for him.
For old
you
men.
know? Yeah.
That's okay. Speaking of another national tragedy, it would seem.
Well, let me read the letter. It's another letter. It's from. You're talking about our hero.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not
no.
our hero. Don't say our hero.
Don't say that.
Okay, I'll try to skim through. Okay, so
I do own all the books.
there is a yes. So our favorite author is he's been in jail for a while
For valid reasons.
for
Murder.
he doesn't agree with that statement, but
We do.
he did kill how many people? 14.
I think like 5.
Okay, 5 people. And he, people write to him in jail. You're allowed to do that, I guess, to people who kill, who blow people up. This guy blew people up. So our friend writes back to his friend, "Thank you for your kind letter, postmarked December 23rd. I received it on January 27th. You concluded your letter with, 'Get well soon. There is yet work to be done.' You're right. There is work to be done. A lot of work. In fact, the work has barely been started, but I won't be able to do much of it. I'm not going to get well soon or ever because I have terminal cancer. I can't expect to live more than 2 years on the outside, and I may well be dead in less than a year. So the work will have to be done by younger people."
Oh, Jesus Christ.
He goes to say, "What about you? What are you doing? I'm told that you've ordered a paperback French and English dictionary for me, for which I thank you. So someone gave him a gift. But seen in relation to the problems we face, the matter of the dictionary is trivial. Have you been following the recommendations in section 28 and 29 of chapter 4 of Anti-Tech Revolution? Have you made any efforts at organization in accord with rule 3 of chapter 3? If you want to organize but don't know where to begin, let me know, and I'll give you some suggestions. But my suggestions will not be easy to carry out. We don't want dilettantes who are ready to do only what is easy. We need people who are capable of total commitment and are prepared to take on any task, no matter how difficult or unpleasant or time-consuming it may be. Yours for wild nature, Ted Kaczynski."
Oh, that was a fucking roller coaster. Holy cow.
I got lost in there.
Dude, I got shivers. That was crazy. Dude, that was a real... Dude, that's a real dude. That's a guy who wrote a manifesto. Mm-hmm. Okay, so for people who don't know...
If you're watching the show, how do you not know?
Ted Kaczynski... Yeah, truly. Ted Kaczynski... Good ideas, bad execution. Just put it that way.
That's the simplest way to put it.
And Bill Maher agrees with me. So it's one of those things. He just was one of the early people talking about how technology wasn't very good for people. But he wrote a manifesto kind of talking about how we should start the dismantling of the industrial world. And Ted Kaczynski agreed with that. And he carried it out by doing various bombings that he would send in via the mail from his cabin in Montana that he would send out from a library from a small town. And they were made of, he was like a genius. Like, I'm not...
Genuine genius.
Super high IQ, went to Harvard, like math, like
early
prodigy.
He was 16 when he went to Harvard.
He was 16 at Harvard? Jesus Christ.
Dude was a genius. Then there's some conspiracy that talks about that he was kind of involved with MK Ultra, that his professor kind of groomed him in this weird way. And that's when he started going wacky. His books, I have read his books. They're just interesting reads. I don't read them out of like appreciation. I read them out of like, this is a crazy historical thing that like the investigation of Ted Kaczynski to find him was the most expensive investigation that the FBI has ever done for one person. Wow. And the reason he was called the Unabomber is because the first 2 targets that he did was a plane and a university. So they called him the University and Airline Bomber. And his first bomb was a barometric bomb that was built on using pressure. So when the pressure got to a certain level in the cabin of the plane, it would explode. However, it only set on fire and the plane landed safely, thankfully. And the next one was a university bombing. But then he eventually started like getting better at them. It was really weird. When he first started, he just went for everybody. Like he was like to the word a terrorist, which is not good, obviously. But then he started becoming a lot more targeted and more like philosophy motivated. Like he became more of a radical.
I think it seems like he got confused starting to go more targeted because like I feel like the first philosophy of just kill everybody or like anybody is like along the same lines as the narrative about the terrorism of like foreign terrorism, where like they just want to save you from this capitalist prison you're in. They want to free you from those big giant steel towers in New York. I feel like maybe that philosophy, it's easier for me to understand. I'm like, I'm gonna single-handedly Jack Bauer the situation and like take out people with bombs.
It is nuts. I have a Ted Kaczynski shirt. I've worn it multiple times on this podcast. I don't agree with his actions. I condemn all of them. But I think his insights in the 1970s on the way that the world was going were remarkably ahead of its time. The way his comments on PC culture in the 1970s are nuts. And it's one thing that's really strange is that his kind of side of the aisle politically has been maimed Nazi, because some later like white supremacist groups started like taking on a very anarcho-primitivist view on stuff, which is weird because in his books he literally talks about how Nazis are like the most kooky ideology he's ever thought about. But it's just interesting that it's interesting that this guy at one point who scared the country was the most expensive investigation in the FBI is dying away, and people can write letters to him. And that's very strange. It's a strange thing
little
to think
thing.
about.
Yeah, you can just send letters and communicate with someone who was like, he was tapped in. Like I would say Ted Kaczynski was tapped in to what was going on. And that makes somebody crazy.
Well, it made him even crazier when he acted and tried to blow up an airplane. Jerry.
Yeah, no, that would make you crazy. I'm saying like trying to figure it all out and trying to find the demons and take down the demons and like try to like get inside their head and think about what they're doing like that. Like if you're to seriously try to think about what it would take for you to like do something that a Nazi did like in the war, like you know, like that's a terrifying. It's a terrifying door to open because it's a endless hole. You don't really know where you might get out.
I love the thing of the only difference between people in prison and people who are not. It's just the people in prison acted
right
like that. Like that's true, and like people who've made the statements of if
well,
you
no,
were a
the
Nazi,
difference is that the people in prison got caught.
That one, some of those too. Yeah, there's definitely some people who got away with a lot, but also like the thing of like if you were in Nazi Germany, you would have been a Nazi.
Right.
Like how people think that they have this amazing, like I could never do something as horrendous as that, and it's like it's a complete misunderstanding of what her mob identity creates, what happens, what real propaganda really does, what fear can really drive people to do. It's a complete misunderstanding. Most people are not the majority of humans in the world are not resilient. The majority of them are very malleable, and the majority of their identity can be created to whatever the state really needs it to be. And to just really be someone I'm like Ted Kaczynski, he's like, I'm going to try to fucking unbox this and then do something about like that letter was him writing to someone like, you need to start taking the steps of filling in my shoes.
He's talking to you.
Get out of here.
Well, no, it
is crazy.
It's crazy. Like what you said about the way that propaganda, how strong propaganda can be. Like the example in America is that part of the propaganda, what it makes you think is that you would be resilient to other countries' propaganda.
Yeah.
That's a sticky boat to find yourself in because
it's a good point.
It's dark because like it's propaganda that plays on virtues, which all propaganda does, but it pits one virtue against another virtue or one like society against another society.
Right.
And it pits one time period against another time period, like saying that the past is like detestable because it's like because we have to like be different than the past. Like that's the wrong way to approach the idea of like fixing our what the past has led us to.
Right.
That's like saying that's saying expunge the records. That's saying like deny what people have been.
We're too future oriented.
Yeah.
When really all the problems that we have are very present, and then you have a lot of things to solve right now than to start thinking about all the things that are going to happen 20 years from now. And the constant justification for things that we will do in the future are based on the demons of the past. Mm-hmm. And there definitely are demons of the past, but the problem is that people in power can manipulate those demons into making new ones, and that is a bad time. And some of those people like to, express those demons by sending people packages with surprises inside. And speaking of packages,
what surprises?
We got one in the mail.
We did.
Nice.
We got a letter. Jarod, say it with me. What time is it?
Letter time.
It's letter time. We got a letter here, and we're gonna open it. We're gonna open this letter up.
Where is it postmarked from? Does it say?
It's Ohio.
Nice.
It's from Ohio. I won't read the address. Out of
respect, yeah.
Let's not dox anybody.
We already doxed somebody last week. The TikTok person.
Oh, we did. We called them.
Did they respond?
No.
I haven't checked. I don't think they
I
did.
thought they did. I saw somebody.
It's a cute little
I should look.
I think he did respond.
There's a cute little handwritten letter. This is from Jackie.
Oh.
Jackie from Ohio.
Okay.
Hello, Jackie. Thank you for sending the letter.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. All right. Jackie says, Dear Tipped and Stiff Podcast, I saw in the news that Joe Biden doesn't like Elon Musk. My dad says that Elon made all his money from emerald slave mines in South Africa. Is that true? Also, what is lithium and why has a country been invaded for it? Sincerely, Jackie. P.S. My parents sleep in separate bedrooms. Thank you, Jackie, for sending the letter. So there's a lot to unpack there. So I think we should just start from the beginning that Jackie's right. There has been things in the news. Joe Biden does not like Elon Musk.
No. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. And Elon Musk doesn't like him either.
No, and it's interesting because Joe Biden is on TV a lot, praising a lot of what the industry of America is doing, everyone except Tesla, which is really surprising because Elon Musk is the CEO of SpaceX, which has like direct government contracts through NASA with.
And DARPA. Like the military.
Yeah. So it's I think it's one of those things that I think Elon this is what I think it is. I think Joe Biden is fronting a little bit because he doesn't like the way that Elon Musk's company has grown so quickly. I think that's one thing, especially during, like, there's been trying to be protests and unionizations of the factories and whatnot. I also think Joe Biden is just a little jelly monster. I think he's a little jelly monster who wishes he had $100 billion. That's definitely a big one. And number 3, I think Joe Biden can't afford a Tesla. I think that's also another one.
No, I think Joe Biden is not legally allowed to drive a car anymore. He doesn't have a license. Which means he should love the Tesla because it's fucking self-driving. What a stupid son of a bitch.
But that's an interesting. I think that's strange that like 2 humongous companies that most likely will be here to stay. Elon's here to stay. Yeah. The president doesn't like, and you wonder. I wonder if it has to do with China in some way, or what it has to do with. But
Elon's very not directly, but he's kind of libertarian in a lot of ways that he operates. You know, like, and I think that he's libertarian in the ways that leftists would agree with.
Right.
In the sense that he's about like making technology that isn't like gonna enslave people. At least I think. I don't know. He could be totally fronting.
Well, the problem is the emerald mine is true. It wasn't. Jackie, what you got wrong in your letter. It's not Elon who made money off the emerald slave mines. It was his daddy in South Africa during apartheid, which is not good. And his dad did own like emerald slave mines. Like, that was real. His dad was practically a slave owner, and that's what made the Musk wealth. But the thing that Elon made that made him his first like millions and billions was PayPal. He was the maker of PayPal, which a lot of people forget about. People forget that Elon Musk is directly related to PayPal. And the other thing, though, that's interesting in the letter about lithium is in places like Bolivia, who hold major deposits of lithium, which, as you can imagine, for an electric car are kind of important because of batteries and whatnot. There's been a lot of coups there because the moment that a president's like, we're going to nationalize the lithium mines, he goes away. Because the thing is that it's much cheaper for companies and countries to buy unprocessed lithium and then they process it instead of a country who has all the lithium process it themselves and then sell it to everybody at a much higher price, which, mind you, would make the country very rich. It's a very in-demand resource. And so to stop them from doing that, we, kill them. Like, that's what we do.
Right.
And you can, like...
go in there with a gun and a bunch of people, and you scare the shit out of them.
Yeah.
You take their children in the night. You sell their kids. You sell their wives.
No, we do horrible things in these countries.
Yeah, probably hasn't stopped for a long time.
It's
been happening for... I mean, Europe was the first people doing that shit.
Yeah.
Belgium, like the book Heart of Darkness.
Belgium and the Congo, they would just like cut people's hands off for not like mining coal. It's insane. Like that's the level.
Yeah. Well, it's weird because like it's hard to express these kind of things without like art or like literature and shit like that. And I'm wondering if we're ever going to get to a point where technology changes the way that we express how we're feeling about the world. And I feel like expressing the way that, companies behave, or the way that resources are taken, or the way that empires are built, civilizations are built, the way that we sustain our society and our culture, just our way of life.
Right.
Like there was a book written a long time ago. It's kind of, I think it was in like the late 1800s. It was written. It's called Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad. It's very, very acclaimed. Like, it's very popular historical piece of literature, and it's about somebody who went on this, who joined this company for like the Belgium army, or not army, for a Belgium company that was mining and stealing resources from Africa.
From the Congo.
And because the main voyage in the story is the main character like piloting a ship going against the current of the Congo River, which is one of the strongest currents in the world. Mm-hmm. So there's this deep, weird symbolism that you're going up this river, you're going against the current into this world, like into this other side of nature. And the river is like a giant snake, and it coils up. They always describe it as a coil, and there's different levels to it, and it gets deeper and deeper into this heart of nature and shit like that. And it's shaped kind of like looks kind of like a heart, like in the middle of the continent. But like that story is, at all the weird, there's weird descriptions of indigenous people and like people of color, yada yada. It was written in 1889. Relax. It's like, you get to a point where you look at something that dense, and you take all of the resources out of that book, and you soak up every piece of history you can get from it. And for me, it genuinely opened the way that I even perceive everything, the way that I perceive humans and conflict and like survival and just the nature of wanting to exist. Will that be possible to do though? Will it be possible to do those things in that way with the new technology with the new technology that will change the way we engage with each other and communicate in the world?
Yes, it's called Bo Burnham's Inside 2.
Right.
No, I know what you're saying though, because like there's books that I've read and I go, this is the greatest medium of art
for this,
ever. This is the thing. When people are like, you should read books, and then you finally do read a good book that blows you away. Like truly, it's like, holy shit, my world is actually different now. There's no song that has ever done that. Truly, there's no movie that's ever done that. I mean, there's movies that have gotten close. There's no movie that's gotten as close to Heart of Darkness or Ishmael. Like, there's no book that's gotten close to that. You read those books and you go, there's no, you know what I mean? Think of one of the oldest books. How about the Bible? There's no movie that's ever gotten close to that. Mm-mm. There's no song. There's no other piece of art. There's a lot of art that has like gone like that has stood the test of time so much that it's crazy to think about, like the Mona Lisa, Picasso's, all those pieces. They're insane to think. Even like that famous picture of George Washington on the boat in the river, or on the Delaware. I think I might totally be wrong with that. But like like those paintings are historic and they stand the test of time. But like the right, like in the future, will we, like when you have the VR headset on, when you have the chip in your brain, you're experiencing things in real time, like the media is being created in front of you. Are you going to have, like, are we going to be able to have the same appreciation? Because some part of me feels like there's always going to be people in the future who are going to look around and look at everybody who's doing the new and cool way to communicate, and they're going to go, have you read this book yet? Like, have you read this? Like, this is better than every video game this is better than every VR lounge I've ever been in. And they're like, I can get my dick sucked in a VR lounge now, like in real time. I can fuck in VR. Like, I can see the president in VR and it's real life. They're like, it's better than all of those. It's every experience. You know what I mean? Like, it's freaky to think about, because if we look at how technology has changed the way we communicate now, it truly is the best way to keep an informed in society uninformed is inform them too much. So that when the things you do are bad, as in the state or corporations, and hundreds of articles are written about it, no one reads them because there's just been 10 million written after it.
Well, they say when people are lying, you can tell they're lying when they're putting too much detail into the thing they're telling. Like they're explaining too much, they're over-explaining. They want you to believe what they're saying. They want you to believe in their image and who they are and who. See, we're headed towards probably a disaster of some kind, and I don't mean like a natural disaster. I mean like a crumbling of something that we barely knew was there in the first place. When you're a kid, a teenager, you're introduced, like the schools, I guess, or some teachers try to introduce you to like literature and art that has maximized on the vast history of humanity and people,
right?
And experience. Like you can't have like a future where people are still as full of depth and present and loving if from the time they're born, like they're not aware of like their past or history or art or these deep feelings that are within us, and these deep potentials for anger and like just every expression you can possibly make, and every feeling and part of your soul you could possibly touch. We're already taking that away from people from children by like rotting their brains at like 3-4 years old.
Right.
You know, which is why every time I see Five Nights at Freddy's anyway, it's just a symbol of like what that whole trend is of the iPad kid. Like, because I remember my friend's little brother was like 5 years old, 4 years old, and just like the iPad in front, just literally just like I imagine in his ears it was just ooh, you know, like the whole time. It's weird. You know, I don't want that to happen. Like if I ever have kids,
Kim Kardashian wants it to happen.
Kim Kardashian does, and I stand with Kanye on this one. I stand with Ye on this one because she wants the kid to be on TikTok or to be allowed to use TikTok. But Kanye knows what's going on with that shit.
Yeah, Jen Psaki's what's going on.
Yeah.
A demon. Thank you, everybody, for watching this episode of the podcast. It's a very fun episode. We'd like to say thanks to That's a Beauty Productions for doing all the help that they do. Thanks to www.ikenosha.com for giving us the space at the studio. Check us out on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook. It's just Tipped and Stiff Podcast, baby.
Call us at 262-770-5763.
Yes, and thank you to everyone who left a voicemail, and thank you, Jackie, for sending the letter.
Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you, Jackie.
Please write back next week.
Good night.